Partnerships and relationships.
You can see that line.
People often ask, what is a futurist, what does it do? And I guess one of the things that I do most of all is actually connect disparate ideas. So art, design and social enterprise, I'd say art, design, engineering, science, architecture, culture shift, anthropologist, all of those things. So I guess I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. But I do give people ways of looking at the future in some kind of structured way, so that you can actually start to take advantage of the future. By that I mean create futures that you kind of want. I actually do a huge range of activities, some of which are corporate and make a lot of money, and others cost me actually a lot of money. But I do them because they actually build my practice. I couldn't be a futurist if I didn't do what I do, is do these other interesting projects on the side. Being a futurist, I like to think about things in time, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of a chronology of a futurist journey. Okay, does anyone recognise that? It's an art piece from 1999. So that is actually a funeral for some meat that was grown in a Petri dish. I've been talking about this thing for a very, very long time, trying to get people to think about what this thing means. The most exciting piece of it is that the artists are the ones who actually have their finger on whispers of the future. So they pick up weird things and they might explore it, but they don't actually explore the meaning of it in terms of, how could I turn this into a business? Well, I could have turned it into a business straight away. I saw this and I go, wow, think about the trends that this actually draws together on. People are having ethical issues. They don't like to eat things with faces. Well, that doesn't have a face. So the people that don't eat things with faces, could they eat this? I don't know. Maybe they'd consider it. Who knows? But it's around, so this is just I track down thousands of these things in a year, but what are the messages that this is telling us? So in 1999, what were those Perth artists, or on Katz and UNSW, actually expressing? What were they doing? So what I do is ask questions. Well, one of the other things I'm passionate about is climate change. Well, there's no carbon involved in this if I manage the process very well. There's no carbon involved in the transport of this meat to my plate. I could have it in my kitchen. You know, and this is strange, but these are some of the questions that you could ask. And I really found it fascinating listening to both Grant and Mickey about the things that they're working on, because the design thinking, I've done quite a lot of work with designers, and I actually realised that the futurist process is very much like a design thinking process, but actually just takes it a bit further out, a bit stranger, a bit weirder, but asks really good questions like design thinking does. The next one, that's called victimless leather. So they actually got more credibility. So the same artists, 2004, so 5 years later, they worked out a way to probably hang the cells off a little frame. So if you think about this, I could run a workshop for a week, really interesting workshop with all of you, just talking about this and what implications this has for the future. This is chicken internet. So this chicken is wearing a device so that when you're at work, you can pat your chicken through the internet. So I love it. You know, and when you start to, when you start to actually ask people what kind of applications you might be able to use this for, we get all sorts of things. But it is the haptic internet. So the haptic internet is about human-computer interaction through all your senses. Big in games, you know. So when I kill people, I want to feel it. Well, I want to feel the gun. I don't want to feel the emotion attached to it. The reality is I do a lot of work around the positive side, but I think we do need to be thinking around this stuff. If we don't think about it, we just go blindly ahead. This one, you may recognise the top three, Stellark. Yeah, again, Melbourne artist, does amazing things. So these ones are really around cyborgs and transhumanists. So what is it when we've got, bits of computer chips in our brain and all of that? So what kind of things does it create? The reality is some of these slides on this are artists. Some of the slides on this are, someone who wanted something for themselves but actually ended up funding it through art. And the other one is just a business idea. You can't tell the difference. This is really key, that people actually think, oh, that's art, that's weird, whatever it might be, when they're actually reflecting on what the future... It's not what the future's going to be like, it's more essences of the future. So the idea I've just taken you through is to take you sort of further out there, but the reality is I'm about creating better futures. So if you want to think about what are better futures, you actually need to explore it in all its depth and breadth and power. And this thing is, people, who's here heard of Theory U? Peter Senge, Otto Sharma, okay, yeah. I actually collaborated with another futurist, and she's really into Theory U and integral futures and so on. But we actually looked at this, and the live futures process that we use when we're actually working at a COFA to help create a collaboration platform actually sits on Theory U beautifully. And when I look at the research into Theory U, and yeah, they wrote a big academic treatise, the background of what they're working on is very similar to mine. When I first started to tell people about the future and get them to think about it, I found they just didn't have any tools to do it. And I thought, oh, great, artists know how to tell people. And then I'd show them those images and they go, whoa, I have not a clue what you're talking about. So it's about how do we start to actually have a clue? Because if you have a conversation about this stuff, you will understand it. There's no doubt. But we spend a lot of money on history. How much money would we spend in the world on history? I don't know, a lot. Yeah? How much money do we spend on understanding the future? And which is more important? Maybe both, but the future is important because we're not learning from history. That's evident. You know that meat thing? That's 13 years ago. I could have turned that into a money stream within 4 years. But I need people who've got money to actually understand what on earth I'm talking about. I need people to understand what kind of trends from the future actually mean that thing makes sense. 13 years ago, people would have gone, oh, that's stupid. But a futurist knows how to pull in all the trends that are happening that are going to change so that in 5 years it's going to be different. And this is my favourite quote of all time. A new world is on its way. On a clear day, I can hear her breathing. And yeah, for me, that's got a huge amount of meaning, but it's also around the her. The world we have is out of balance. The systems are very yang. We need to develop some yin in our systems. And a futurist is a systems thinker. It's about the systems. And how do we change them? Not with the way that we created them. So come on, ladies. And men can be yin thinkers as well. Yes, ladies and also other yin thinkers. The reality is collaboration, sharing power, sharing information, all of that is a call for a balancing of yin, yeah? So just leave that as a last thought to reflect on. So thank you, everyone. That's been great.